Good afternoon, everybody. If anybody is trying to call me right now, I'm not answering the phone. So if it's anybody watching the show, you can just leave me a message and I'll get back with you later. But my house phone has been going specifically, and I'm not sure why. I don't think there's any sort of elections coming up, but it's just been nuts. So anyway, welcome. To those of you who have joined us. This is Friday with Fran, and I am one host, Shelley, and this is Fran. Ooh, I got it right. and for anybody who's never watched us before, my camera is flipped. So in order to point at Fran, I actually have to point the opposite direction of where I want it to be seen. So
this is Yanko.
And this is Yanko, and in her coat is Cooper. His whole face is as big as Cooper now. I mean, it's as big as Cooper. So,
yeah.
Hang on. Let me listen to who this says it is. No. Okay. It's a spam risk. So it was just odd that it had done it 3 times in a row. So I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't somebody that I needed to actually answer. Hi, Alex. Okay. Thank you for joining us. It's good to have you with us today. Alex, we don't know what we're going to talk about.
I like her profile picture. I think that's very important. Support mental health.
Oh, yes. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. Did you know that?
Yes, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
I posted something about it, but I don't know if I knew it when I posted it.
Oh,
that it was actually for the month.
Yeah. I saw it on another page, so I didn't realize either that it was Mental Health Awareness Month. It's so interesting, all these, like it's also Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome Awareness Month, and it's this, and it's Asian Pacific Islanders Month, I think I saw on my Google Calendar, and it's just
really?
All these
that
different.
Covers me, I think.
Well, yeah, it would.
Well, maybe. You know what I did? I did something really interesting the other day.
What?
I did one of those DNA things.
Oh, yeah?
Because it's curiosity's finally really gotten, I was wondering, and they had a special going, so.
Cool. Yeah, it's Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. So I had the name slightly wrong.
Yep.
That's what
He's coming out of the jacket.
Kind of makes him like a turtle. He's coming out of a shell.
So, I was going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Because since we were talking about mental health, I wanted you to tell me your go-to thing when your mental health is tanking. What is your go-to thing to stop the tank?
It depends on at what point I'm in when I realize that I'm tanking. So sometimes I'm so involved in it that I don't realize it's happening until I'm a little ways down the road. And at that point, I try to, if I can be cognitive and sort of start talking myself down of, okay, this is not reality, find the 5 things that you can touch, find the 5 things that you can smell, find the things that, you can hear, that sort of strategy. If I am beyond that point, and this has only happened, I think, really once, that it's bad enough, then I do have, an extra dose of, and it's a different medicine than what I take daily for my anxiety. So that I can take that if it gets really, really severe. If it's at the beginning where I catch it, I can start praying, and because my mind is still able to think rationally at that point, and I know that praying helps me. But beyond sort of the beginning of it, I can't always go to the prayer part because I just don't have enough wherewithal at that point. So does it happen to you, and what happens to you? What do you do? I mean,
Yeah, it does. Sorry, Yanko is. We're in for this is a see how well we can stay focused episode.
yeah.
Yanko, stop. But so for me, I tend not to catch it soon enough. And till I'm like really, really deeply tanked, and then I struggle a bit because I find myself just wanting to curl up, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've discovered, and just curl up and hibernate for a bit and reboot. And so sometimes I've found that works, and sometimes it takes having a friend just to talk to. For me, when I get really deep down, but then in the same instance, I don't want to be around anybody.
Right.
But I know that for my self-preservation, I probably should be around somebody. So that's when I tend to, because I don't want to have to end up going somewhere to keep myself safe, kind of thing.
Right.
I reach out to others.
Yeah. And that's a good strategy too. So, I have to apologize. I still have, when we went through the, somewhere, where is it? I have a bunch of sticky notes all over my desk. It drives Kevin and Violet crazy because they're like, how do you know what anything is? I'm like, I find it on the sticky note. But yeah, behavior strategy. Nope, that's not it. I don't know. There was another time when we did stuff and we talked about our toolbox and going to our toolbox. And I had the sticky note, and maybe I did toss it because I can't find it right now. But so I am going to write down strategies for mental health. So we talked about calling a friend. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out if it's Jonas making noise or if it's not Jonas, because Jonas is here. So something else is making noise in my house. That's not good.
And nobody else is home. So therein lies the problem.
Exactly. Calling a friend, praying,
hibernation.
And yeah, like you said, for the hibernation, that can be an hour, 2 hours a day. Depends on how deep you're into your mental health situation. I'm going to put down 5 senses. And so I can't spell today. I was trying to write the word 5 and the word senses, and I came up with fences. So
hey, alliteration.
Right, exactly. So the thing with the 5 senses is actually a proven strategy that helps. And so what it entails basically is you do 5 of something, 4, 3, 2, and then the last thing you do is a very deep, slow breath. And so it's you like pick a shape and you find 5 of that shape. You smell 4 different smells. You touch 3 different textures. You listen for 2 different sounds, and then you take the breath. But all of those other ones that I mentioned are interchangeable. So you might listen for 5 different sounds and smell 4 different things and touch 3 different textures and look for 2 different shapes, or not 2 different shapes, but 2 shapes that are the same. And so you can sort of rotate through those. And I actually had developed cards at one time. I don't have them printed out here, but that has pictures for people to, if they're nonverbal, or sometimes even when you're in major anxiety or meltdown mode, you can't even read. You're so beyond rational at that point. So if anybody's watching and you would want those, just drop your information, how I could contact you, in the chat box, or you can privately reach out to me if you want to through a PM. And I'm happy to send those to you because, like I said, there are picture ones, but then there are also ones with words on them. And I've just kind of gone through and interchanged, like I said, the how many of the you do this many or of that many things, so that you don't even have to try to think now which one did I do last time. And
Right.
and then you can, if you have access to a laminator, then you can laminate them. You can take them with you. They're about that big by that big, I think. So, you know, they're not huge, but they're not wallet size either. I wanted to be able to read them without having to squint.
Yeah. Alex, what do you do? Or if you have a connection with us still, what are some of the things you do to get out of your funk?
Yeah, or anyone else who's watching,
yeah,
whether watching live or in the replay, because you know, Fran and I don't have all the be all to end all of any ideas of anything that we talk about. So
we're just
always
sharing our own personal.
Right, exactly. And I don't know if those of you who are watching are frequent watchers, but you can probably tell that Fran and I are a little subdued in our voices today. We're both a little bit under the weather, so we are not at our typical high energy selves like other episodes of Friday with Fran. It's been a long time since we've been on Friday with Fran.
Has it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, well, the last time I think we were on was when you were in Florida.
Was that okay?
I think so.
Yeah. Things have just keep coming on Fridays that
right
interfere with Friday with Fran.
Yeah. You were traveling one Friday, I believe.
Yes. Oh, yes. I was coming back from Florida.
Yeah. And then another Friday, we were moving Violet into her first own. She doesn't own it, but it's a house. So her first rental house. So that was a week ago. But there seemed like maybe one or both of us was too much under the weather, because it seems like it's been more than just times.
I think we were under the weather.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a while since we've been here. So for those who are our regulars, hello, we're back. We're still alive. We just have had to take some time off, and I've got a couple of teaching dates coming up and meetings on Fridays for the education consulting part of my life that I do with IEPs. So we may be missing another Friday. I know we're missing. Well, I have an appointment almost 2 times around the clock before the show starts. So I don't think that I will be here in order to be able to do the show. I don't think I'll be back in time, but I'll let you know as it gets closer.
Okay. I'm going camping too.
Again, you and your camping. I'm proud of you that you take that time and you go away, because
it helps my mental health. It helps me physiologically as well to be active and get out.
Mm-hmm. How many days are you camping this time?
I think it's like L.
Really? Wow. Yeah. That's 2 from church day to church days, basically, right? So
Close
it's
to it.
Yeah.
Close to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Alex says she stops and changes the activity if possible. I'm going to throw the phone in the way. She sleeps. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, we said hibernation. She sleeps or retreats. She immerses herself in nonsense TV show. Yeah, I do that sometimes. Pray, call a friend are a few things I do. Thank you for sharing, Alex. Those are all good ideas as well.
Yeah. Did you write some of that down?
I haven't. I was going to once I took it off the screen.
Oh, okay. Those are, I like the sometimes immerse myself in nonsense TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
My recent thing that I've been doing is I've been watching first class and business class flying, and what it's like to fly in different
really?
airlines. There's this person. There's a couple of people, but there's this one person that doesn't. And he doesn't do any talking in it, so you just kind of read the subtitles, and so I kind of live out the fantasy world of, yes, if I live if I had all the money in the world, I would do this. There was this plane where there's actually in the nose of the plane, there's a double bed. It's called the residence. If you're flying that's like even above first class. And yeah, I was like, oh my gosh,
Wow.
I have some super money to do that. But so that's that's my nonsense TV that I've been doing because I don't have regular cable or anything. So
Right. So is that on Hulu or Netflix or something like
it's
that?
just was YouTube. It was someone that
Oh,
posts
okay.
their like vlogs on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think the nonsense TV is a good one. I've recently found a game show that it says it's new, so I guess it's not just new to me. I guess it's actually new to Netflix. And we're like you, we don't have regular cable. So everything we get is a streaming service. So whether it's Hulu or Disney, we have several of them: Hulu, Disney, Prime, Netflix,
cooking.
Plex.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I came across this one. Cooking shows. Yeah, that's another good one. I like the Great British Bake Off. It's called, and pardon my language, it's called Bullshit. And so it's hosted by Howie Mandel, and the contestants, there's actually 4 contestants, but there's one person who has the questions asked of them. And then they have a little screen in front of them and they answer the question. And as soon as they answer the question, they are the only one to know if they got it right or wrong. And then they have to convince the other 3 contestants that they are telling the truth. And the other 3 are contestants because whichever one of them gets whether or not the person is telling the truth or BSing the most accurate will be the next person in the hot seat, so to speak.
Okay.
So it's really interesting to watch people when because they have to try to have the same demeanor all the way through it, whether they're telling the truth or not, so that you don't know which one they're doing. And yeah, it's like the one person had this many questions, but had only known the answer to this many, but won $250,000, which I know to you don't understand that, and I don't know how to put that into ways that you would. Okay. But it's like 2 houses worth of money that they won. So, and they didn't know, it's all trivia questions, and they didn't know the trivia. They were just able to convince the other contestants that they knew it. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting and funny, and I think my husband would be amazing on it. Because A, he does know a lot of trivia, but B, he is. I mean, we play this game, Beyond Balderdash. Have you ever heard of it? And it's kind of along the same philosophy, is that you all get the same question or phrase or initials or whatever the category is. And then you have to come up with an answer that you think is the best answer.
Okay. And
then, the rest of the people like vote and they go, oh yeah, I think that's the right answer. Once the answers are, because then you give them back to like the round leader, and then that person reads them off, and then you vote for whose you think is the most likely to be the right answer. And he wins that game every single time.
Got it.
So yeah.
I think Cooper's relaxing. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Jonas is actually relaxing. He's laying in the bed in his bed next to me.
So you look as if you could fall asleep now, my friend. So I think we should close this really soon, and we're going to have a short one today.
That's okay. Yeah. Yeah, I took, even if I want to go to sleep, I can't. I don't understand why the phone is going so crazy. Maybe it is somebody who I just don't know, but the system just thinks it's a spam risk, and they keep calling, and they only know to call the house phone because no one has tried my cell phone. So it's not somebody who knows me close enough that they would call me on the cell phone because they can't get a hold of me on the house phone. So, but have you had that problem lately where your phone is just?
Yeah, it rings a lot, but it's getting close to election. So.
Oh, I just saw a flyer that I got in the mail the other day that was,
Well, I mean,
I mean, we have
in
like
reality,
2 calendars away.
yeah, but that's close in
Yeah.
election time.
I guess that's true. Oh, Cooper's interested in something.
It's a cat.
That kind of day, rainy
Can
and
you
dark.
see the cat?
Here in New York, may nap myself soon. Yeah, that's a good point, Alex. It's been off and on raining here for a couple of days now, and it's still overcast because I think we still have a chance of rain yet for the rest of the day, and that could be part of it. And I know that that's what's messing with my sinuses and my allergies and all that sort of stuff.
So we talked about our toolbox.
We did.
And we've added some more tools to it.
Yep.
Do you want to recap them for us?
Sure. So if you are in a meltdown or a mental health need, and it's not severe enough that you need to seek medical attention, if it is, don't hesitate. Yeah. But so, that was one thing that I said too, which I didn't write down before, was taking that extra anxiety medicine that I have. So we said calling a friend or talking to a friend, praying, hibernating, using the 5 senses strategy, change the activity, immerse yourself in, and I had added to this, but nonsense television or music or comedy, and then taking extra, if you have it, and it's been prescribed to you to use when your anxiety is beyond your control of bringing it back in, then to take that extra dose of medicine. Did I catch everything?
I think so. And realizing that it's okay to not be okay. And I think that's really key. So often, being able to admit that to yourself is a really big step. And then once you admit that, then going, okay, so now what do I want to grab out of my toolbox? And if all the tools in my toolbox aren't working, realizing I need to do the next step.
Right. Yeah. And the next step could be calling a doctor, could be going to the emergency room. Could be, that's okay. Your cat just was exciting. Yeah. Oh, I kind of got stuck outside my house earlier today. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but my door leading out to my backyard, that's not a good one. There was a squirrel. See it?
Yeah.
And so I couldn't open the door because it got itself up there, but it didn't realize how to come down. And I didn't want to
have it in your house.
Why? Well, it's definitely not that, but I didn't want to, we have a shovel by the door and I didn't want to poke it with the shovel because then I was afraid it would run down the handle. And, I'm not scared of the squirrel itself, but what the squirrel can give me if it bites me or scratches me. And so Jonas and I were out in the backyard and we heard some leaves rustling. And so when we found it, unfortunately, instead of the squirrel going back into the yard and out of the yard, it went up the side of the house. And then, like I said, it's confused. So it's still, I managed to get into the house. I managed to get it to move away enough that I could come into the house, but then it went right back to that spot. So now I have a sign on my door for me that I don't just bust open that door again because it is sitting right there on the door frame.
It's still sitting there. Goodness.
It was, yeah. And this was a while ago. This was probably 2 times around the clock ago that I got stuck outside.
Oh my.
And I could have gone around to the front door, except where the gate opens into the outer part of the yard, there was a big old massive water puddle. So, because my husband he's working on putting an entryway that's not ground, like he wants to put concrete or bricks there. And so he's got it dug out. well, it's all filled up with water and leaves. And I had my dress pants on. I'm like, I'm not jumping in there. And I can't jump over it. I'm not that good anymore. So yeah, I had some excitement earlier today.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. My other excitement today was I went and helped at an 8th grade, I forget what they called it, but it was type reality store. That's what they called it. And they were given a set of money and a job title and whether or not they had a spouse and then how many kids and all that stuff. And then they had to go through all the stations and buy their groceries and pay their utilities and buy rent or pay rent and all that kind of stuff. And it was interesting because a lot of the kids had no idea. So parents, if you're watching, talk to your kids about money because we had kids that I was in the bank and we had kids come up to us and before they had actually gotten their salary, they had to write down like, what type of job they would have and how much they thought it paid and how much they thought they would save. And we had kids writing down that they would save $6,000 and $7,000 a month. And which is this money. Right? Yeah. And, it's more than like several house payments. And they were only making not even half of what they said they would put into savings every month. And so it was interesting for them to be like, oh yeah, nope, not going to be able to put that much away when I don't even make that much. So that was really, really interesting and eye-opening for them. But it was interesting for me to see them just like, oh gosh, I hope I did better with Violet at teaching her about having to, how money works because she's out on her own now. Did I tell you that? Yeah. So, because I said that's why we weren't here last Friday because we moved her.
Yep. Okie doke. Oh, all did you want to share with everybody? Do you remember that podcast we did?
Oh, yeah. So Fran and I were on something called Carpooling with the RV. And the RV stands for Relatable Voice. And the name of our podcast host was Lucia Mantuantu. I probably screwed that up royally. But anyway, the episode where Fran and I were on was the most downloaded and most listened to episode out of all the episodes that they've had. So our episode has now been put into her Hall of Fame. So thank you, everyone who went to listen to it and who downloaded it. If you haven't listened to it.
On inclusion.
Yeah, the future of inclusion. So I will see if I can find the link and put it in the chat so that if you haven't listened to it, you can go listen to it. Fran had a beautiful caregivers list, things you can do for the caregiver list that we included. So yeah, it was a really nice honor and very unexpected for me, at least.
Yeah, it was fun. It was different.
Yeah, it's not like this. You told me afterwards.
Nope.
Yeah, more anxiety was involved for you then.
Yes, it was.
Ladies, thanks for touching on mental health awareness. It is so important. Yeah, absolutely. And it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, keep your eyes and ears out. And like Fran said, it's okay not to be okay. And as we always say, you're not alone.
Yeah. Oh, I got to tell you, my sister just told me this a little while ago, and I thought it was so appropriate.
Okay.
Tacos fall apart, and people like them too, so it's okay to fall apart.
Oh, that's awesome. People love tacos.
Yeah.
In fact,
even Kevin with them falling apart.
Yeah. In fact, Kevin sent me a joke yesterday that said Gary Chapman, who is the author of the 5 Love Languages, now says there is a 6th, and it's tacos.
So, yes, remember you are not alone. Reach out, and we'll get you in touch with somebody or reach out to somebody.
Yeah. And if you need help and you can't get a hold of anybody personally that you know, then there are those crisis hotlines that you can call. And I don't remember the numbers. I know it's a repeating of numbers, but I can't remember which order they go in. So I don't want to say it. So I'll make sure to put that in the chat as well for a text or a phone call. All right, everybody. Sorry that we are cutting it short today, but as we said, we're both kind of under the weather and we're just not focusing and able to talk about anything on track for many amounts of time. See, I can't even speak now. So all right, I believe we're here next week. So we will see you all next week. Have a great week and happy Mother's Day to all the moms and stepmoms and grandmas and all the people who play mom. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.